Hello, welcome to this year's goals video. If you have been around, you may remember that I did a video exactly like this one, same setup and everything, this time last year, and it was just going through my goals list for 2025. So we're gonna do the same thing, but goals for 2026. If you're new here, my name is Red. I'm a full-time artist in upstate South Carolina. I typically paint things like plants and flowers, critters, and also landscapes occasionally. And every year for the past, oh gosh, many years, around this time of year, I'll do a goals list. And it's not resolutions, it's not intentions necessarily, it's just goals that I have for the year. They live in here. This is my business journal that I keep, got lots of little tabs. I will usually, if I have an idea about something, or if there's something that I need to remember, if there's like a process that I need to remember, something that I'm learning and I want to write the steps down, then I'll usually put it in this journal and add a little tab so that I can go back through. All right, so let's talk about lists. I've been doing these for well over a decade, since I was in college, so at least 15 years. I can't remember how long it's been since I've been in college, but it was a long time ago. And every year I'll make a list. Most of the time, the lists are really long. They're very ambitious, and I go pretty ham on them. And inevitably, I'm not gonna get all of them done. I'm not gonna check off all of the things on my list. But after maybe like 5 or 6 years of doing the lists, I stumbled upon some of those older lists, and I went back through them just out of curiosity, you know, nostalgia and whatnot. And I read through them and I realized that 5 or 6 years later, I could check off a lot of the items on those previous lists. And that's something that hit me in that moment. It was like, okay, if I just keep going for it, then I'm gonna hit my goals, right? And that's a lesson that I've learned just like over and over and over again, is that the trick to being successful at anything, whether it's like successful in business, successful in a new creative thing that you wanted to do, a skill that you want to learn, even, I mean, like anything personal, like if you just want to be successful at a thing, the trick really is to just keep doing it. Just don't stop doing it ever. And of course, you know, there's a lot of nuance to this. Like it doesn't always work this way, but I would say most of the time I have found that I will find success in one way or another, because everybody measures success differently. I'll find success one way or another if I just keep at it, if I just keep going and I keep focusing on my goals. I may not check off all of those items on my list year to year, but eventually they will get checked off. And also, even just looking back over my tattoo career, I accomplished all of the things that I wanted to accomplish, but some of those things that I initially wanted to accomplish, I didn't want to anymore after a few years. Like my goals changed and evolved as I changed and evolved as a person and as a tattooer and as an artist. So it's okay if those goals change, and it's okay if, you know, maybe something that you really wanted to go for, you really wanted to accomplish, maybe at some point you don't actually want that. And so you kind of adjust and go from there. This really wasn't meant to be a bit of a pep talk, but there you go. So let's just look back through 2024 goals, and then we'll talk about last year's goals, 2025, and then we'll get up to speed with this year, 2026, what I've got. So 2024 goals were art collections, cat flowers, more fruits, Lake Murray, Columbia, Charleston, birds, bluebird, wren, chickadee, dried sunnies or sunflowers, bees on blooms, tea time, or beverages, ? New products, tote bag, washi tape. In the studio, try acrylic wash, finish a sketchbook flat file base. I wanted to build a base for my flat file. Printer desk, shelves over flat file, new work desk, easel, organize. That's always a goal, right? make stamps for packaging, design new business and thank you card, design new Patreon envelope, paper tape dispenser, and then business. I wanted to be consistent on YouTube. Ha! That did not happen. Consistent on YouTube, advertise on Etsy. I didn't even get back on Etsy. Work indie craft. I applied, did not get in that year. Work Artisphere. That was interesting. I'll catch you up on that. Work The Gilmore Show. New wholesale clients, gallery representation. I had a list of galleries that I wanted to reach out to, and that is it. Let's look at what I did accomplish that year. I did do more fruits. I did do some Columbia paintings, and I did do a series of dried sunflowers. Still to date, one of my favorite collections I've ever done. Love that collection. I did not do either of the new products, tote bag or washi tape. In the studio, I did not try acrylic gouache. I still haven't tried it, and I don't think I'm going to. Suffice it to say, I like the gouache that I'm currently using, and I don't feel the need to try acrylic gouache. Let's see, I did finish a sketchbook. I did build my flat file base, printer desk. I don't quite know what that one meant, but it does have a check mark next to it, so I guess I did do it. And I do have a desk over my printer that I use for like I'll pull my page of, my printed page out and I'll do my cutting and packaging and stuff on that desk. So maybe that's what that means. I did not put shelves over my flat file, although I would still like to do that. I did build a new work desk, like my big wooden desk that you may have seen in other videos. It's kind of in the middle of my workspace. I did do that. I did not get an easel, still haven't. I did organize, and then it gets disorganized, and then I organize again, and it's a cycle. So I think I did do that, even though I don't have that one marked. I know I was organized in 2024. I did not make stamps for packaging. Still have not done that. Still on my list. Sometimes these items get recycled. Usually I'll go through the year before, and if there's anything on that list that I didn't get to that I still want to have as a goal, I'll just move it to the current year. And sometimes they get moved several times, like this one. Design new business cards and a thank you card. I did do that. Design new Patreon envelope. I did not do that year. Paper tape dispenser. Didn't get that year. Business. Consistent on YouTube. Nope. Advertise on Etsy. Nope. I did not work indie craft. I did not work Artisphere. I can't remember if it was 2024 or 2023, but I was in the Artisphere community show. So I did work it in a way, but I can't remember if that was 2024 or 2023. So I'm not sure, but I don't have it checked off. And to be honest, I'm not always good at checking stuff off at the end of the year. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It looks like I did this year. I did work the Gilmore Show, which is like a kind of a big craft show around Christmas time in Columbia. It was a huge flop. I will never work it again. It was awful. I barely made enough to cover my booth fee and gas to get there. I spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars on my booth and stock and all of the things to get prepared for it. I was crawling myself out of that financial hole for months afterwards. I won't do it again, which is unfortunate because it does seem like a good show. It just wasn't a good show for me. I didn't get new wholesale clients in 2024 that I'm aware of. I know I had some, but I don't have this one marked off, so I'm not sure exactly what the situation was there, why I didn't mark it off. So what happened in 2024? I don't know. Gallery representation. I did get one of these checked off. I did not get any of the others, but I also, to be fair, didn't reach out to a lot of these. So even though I have them written down and these are things I wanted to accomplish, I didn't really truly make the effort. So I don't really feel like that one exactly counts. All right, now let's go through last year's goals, 2025. This is the list that I went over more in depth in last year's video. So if you want to go back and look at the archive and watch that video and hear my thoughts on all of these items, then you're welcome to. I'll link that below in the description. In 2025, I wanted to have fewer items on my list. I wanted to keep it simple. I didn't want to feel overwhelmed. I wanted it all to feel like things that I could actually accomplish. Part of the reason that I wanted to go easy on my goals list for 2025 is because I knew that this was going to be my last year tattooing. and I wanted to be able to just kind of focus on getting through the year with tattooing. I think I'm gonna turn the camera so that you can see what I see, and let's just go through together and check off what I accomplished in 2025. I think that will be fun. Let's do that. I did do one bird, so I'm going to check that one off. I did not do cat flowers yet, but I did start the drawings for some of them, and I did finish 2 sketchbooks. Washi tape, I did not do that. Tote bags, yes. Flat items and packaging, no, I did not do that because I ended up making puzzles. However, I did sort of figure out some of the kinks with my packaging, so I do feel good about that. Block print, I did not get to that, so I only got to the totes. All right, let's look at the studio. I did do shells. I can mark that. I did not design stamps. Didn't get to that one again, but I think I put that one on this year's list as well. I did get a paper tape dispenser that has completely changed my life. I did not get an easel. I did not try acrylic wash. And I did mess around with oil bars, but not as much as I had intended. If I did it all, I just dipped my toes and I didn't, not as it was intended. So we're gonna leave that one. I did do YouTube, so I can check that one off. I applied to a grant. I checked this one off and put in parentheses the big one. There are 2 different grants that I was applying to. I did not apply to the one that this one is referring to, but I did apply to another one that was much larger. I did not receive that grant, and that's okay. I am going to apply to the smaller one this year. The big one just kind of like came up, and so I just, since it popped up and I was like, okay, this is a better opportunity. It's, you know, just like this one time, this one thing, and I'm just gonna go for that one. I did reach out to, let's see, I wanted to reach out to 4 galleries. I wrote down the galleries that I wanted to reach out to. I did apply to 2 of them, and then one of them I decided not to apply to this year. They're probably not going to open their applications again until maybe 2027. I think they do applications open for a full year every other year, I believe. So it'll be a while until I can reach out to them again, but I think by that time I'll feel better about it and feel more ready to go on that front. Oh, I had wanted to do a water activated tape design. So I didn't do that one. And then I wanted to move my email list to Patreon. I did do this and I regret it. I was feeling burnt out on my email list because I was doing pretty extensive updates, doing design work on the email that I'm not good at and that feels really uncomfortable and arduous. And so I was feeling really burnt out on doing this every single month. So I moved it over to Patreon, which is a platform that I feel much more comfortable with. I do think an email list is great because there are so many people who are trying to avoid platforms like Patreon, which is kind of like a social media platform for artists, and people are just trying to be on their computers less. Some people just don't want to sign up for another thing, and I totally get that. So I regret doing that. And I think this year I'm probably going to start an email list again. And that's my 2025 goals. Looking back, I honestly didn't get that much done on it. However, I did get a lot done throughout the year, and I feel good about what I got done. A lot of these items that I had on my goals list for 2025 are things, like the ones that I didn't get done are things that I feel now like it's okay that I didn't get those things done. And I feel good about the things that I did get done. So that feels good. It's fine. Now, for what we've all been waiting for, goals of 2026. For art goals, I have starred finish cat flower series, damn it. And that's because I've had this cat flower series in my head of paintings for so many years. And I even have some of the sketches drawn up. I've got things planned out. I just have not done the thing, and I need to just do the thing. So that's listed there. I also have listed paint more critters or animals. Critters is just more fun to say, okay? Experiment with landscapes. I've been feeling very bored of my landscapes. I did not do very many this past year because I was feeling bored with them. I'm struggling with them for some reason, and I want to change the feel of them up. I just want to change it up. So experiment with landscapes, finish 2 to 3 sketchbooks, focus on making work. I have a tendency of focusing on the business side of things. I put a star next to this item, focus on making work. Focus on just producing the work that I want to make. I also wrote down block prints. Again, that's another thing. I've got some materials ready to go for it. I really enjoyed it when I was doing it a few years ago, and I'd like to enjoy it again. So block prints, and I put oil bars on there again as well. So that's all I have for the art section. For the product section, we have puzzles again, stickers. I've got several stickers that I would like to make. Designs are already there. I also have written down that I want to start my calendar and holiday stuff in June. Now, it might not actually be necessary for me to start the calendar in June, but it kind of feels like it's necessary because this past year I started designing it in September and I was not able to get them out until like November, December, and even that was an absolute mess. With ordering stuff like that, manufacturing, designing, and then manufacturing, these things just like take time. And so that's why I really need to get it started way earlier than I got it started this time or this past year, because I just don't want to be stressed like that again. Like, that was not fun. So for the studio section, we have build a printer stand, pegboard organization, question mark, design stamps. There's a star next to that one. I've had it on my list for a couple of years now. Loose canvas work and easel, question mark. All right, let's go through those. Build printer stand. I have the materials to do this. I just haven't done the thing yet. So I just need to do that. My printer currently is on a stand, but it's a stationary stand. It's some cinder blocks and a piece of wood, and it's sitting on the piece of wood. But what's not nice about it is if my printer has any sort of issue where I have to access the back of the printer, I can't pull it out, and it's underneath a desk. So it's on a stand and then it's underneath a desk. It's kind of, you know, it's buried under things. So, you know, I would like to build a stand that I can roll out. So if I need to service it for any reason, I can pull it out and work on it. So I've got the stuff to do that. I just need to put it together. Pegboard organization, question mark. I would like to further organize my packaging area. I've had the idea of pegboard organization to help with that, but I'm not sure if that is the solution, or if I need a different type of organization. So I need to just sort of like set up, maybe even set up a pegboard. I have one that I use for certain markets and such. So I could set up some things on that just to see how it would feel and flow and go from there. But that's why there's a question mark there, is because I'm just not sure if that is the solution that I need, or if I need actually something else, more shelving, or like a rail with stuff to hang on, or cups that I can put things in. You know, I'm not sure like what the solution is, but that's an idea. Design stamps for my packaging. This one has a star next to it because I have been planning on doing this for a long time. I've wanted to do it for a long time, and actually the reason that I have it on for this year is because I decided that since I'm not going to invest in designing water activated tape, this could be a good way to dress up my packaging a little bit, make it cute in a way that is accessible to me right now at this stage of my business. So, design stamps, loose canvas work. This is not in the art list. This is just like things I want to try in the studio. Currently, I have a stack of canvases, like stretched canvas ready to go, and they are taking up a lot of space. I want to work through those canvases and then store them somewhere. I will figure that out when it comes up. And from there, rather than purchasing more stretched canvas, just start working on the loose canvas that I have. A lot of artists will do this. They will paint on loose canvas and they'll roll them up to store them. When they've sold or they're ready to hang them in a show or something, they'll pull out the loose canvas and they'll stretch it on stretcher bars. I can use what I have, store it a little bit better, and then as they sell, I can stretch them, or I can maybe even send them to somebody rolled up. That will save them a lot of money on shipping, and then they can use that money that they've saved on shipping and take them to a framer to have them stretched and framed and all of that. So we'll see how that goes. First, I have to get through the stack of stretched canvas that I have. An easel, question mark. This one's a question because it's not necessarily something that I need. I have a whole wall that I can paint on. However, it might be nice to have a small easel that I can put stuff on for filming, because if I can paint next to the window, I'll have better light, and that might be nice for filming, which is good for marketing, which is good for business. Also, maybe I would like to use the wall space that I have for other things, or maybe that's good storage space for finished works if I put up some shelves. I'm not sure. There's things that I'm thinking about here. It would get tricky with larger works. I've thought about this. It is usually easier to put like a 4 foot by 4 foot stretched canvas or wood panel up on the wall and just paint on the wall for the larger items like that. I'm just not quite sure. We'll have to see. So it's a question, it's a maybe. Occasionally I'll look at Facebook Marketplace to see if there are any easels that I like that are for sale near me, and sometimes they come up. So that's what I have listed for studio. Let's go on to business. In the business section, I have apply to the small grant, get iCloud, Squarespace, question mark, keep Shopify, domains, question mark, increase prices on larger works, question mark, and then taxes savings account. These are some hefty ones. Apply to small grant. I mentioned before that last year I applied to a bigger grant. Didn't get it, that's okay. For the small grant, I already have my materials ready to go, my proposal and everything. This grant is for a desktop computer. That's what I'm planning on using the money for. My laptop is on its last leg. I need to apply to that small grant and see what happens there. I need to get iCloud. That's something that I have been meaning to do for the last year plus. Was it this last year or was it in 2024? Quite some time ago, I had a scare with my external hard drive. I thought I had lost everything on it. And since then, I have meant to get iCloud and meant to get iCloud, and every time I mean to do it, I'm like in the middle of 5 other things and I forget to do that one thing. So I need to get iCloud. That's important. Maybe I'll remember to do that this week. Ooh, ah. I need to get Squarespace. Right now I have Shopify and I like it. And they've had some updates this year that I really, really like that I don't want to let go of. However, Squarespace has things that I want that Shopify does not have. One is email list. You can just have an email subscription service with them. I also like their website layouts a whole lot more. I think there's a lot more flexibility with website design with Squarespace, which I like. And then they also have subscription options. So if I wanted to do my Patreon rewards, the postcards and the bookmarks, I could do that through Squarespace. And those are really the 3 main things: email list, website design, and subscriptions. And those are pretty big items. Okay, next item, increase prices on larger works, question mark. This one is tricky. Increasing prices is always tricky. If I compare my prices to other people who do something similar to me and are doing it full time, I'm wildly underpriced. I desperately need to increase my prices if that's what we're comparing myself to. If you're comparing my work to people who do something similar to me but are doing it as a hobby, I'm wildly overpriced. Now, I am a full-time artist, so realistically, I need to have my prices more so in line with the folks that are also doing it full-time. When I break down the price of my work with all that goes into it, time and materials, taxes that have to be taken out, all of these things, my work is definitely underpriced. I definitely need to increase somewhere. Okay, last item on the business, in the business section, is taxes savings account. I am finding that it's very, very difficult to save money for taxes if I'm not just automatically taking the money out and putting it into a separate account. My ADHD brain can't handle it. I can't do it. I really need that separate account. So, wow, that's it. That is the entire 2026 goals list. I hope you've enjoyed hanging out with me while we chat about all of the goals for this year and a couple years past. If you have any questions about any of the things that I mentioned, feel free to drop those in the comments. I will not be accepting any other items to add to the goals list because I feel like this is a pretty extensive list for me to be working on this year. Do you do a goals list? Do you do resolutions? What are some goals that you have for yourself this year? As I said before, I try not to put too much pressure on myself to accomplish all of the goals. And as you can see, there are quite a few goals that I don't even get to. Honestly, what I usually do is I'll make the goals list early in the year, and sometimes I won't even look at it until like halfway through the year. I think in 2025, I don't think I looked at it until like November. I don't even know why I did, but it was like way towards the end of the year before I even looked at my goals and like where I was at in the process. Yeah, chat with me about goals. Tell me what you think. And I think that's all I have for you today. The next video that should be coming out is the knitting video, so keep an eye on that. And feel free to check out any previous studio vlogs. I also have a Patreon, as I've mentioned many times in this video. So if you want to check that out, you're welcome to. I send out monthly postcards and monthly bookmarks, or you can get a combo of both. I also do a monthly podcast, which is super fun, and you can ask me all kinds of questions in that space too if you'd like. And I'll chat about that, or chat about those questions and answer those questions in the podcast. So I hope you're doing well. I hope you're having a good start to your year, and I'll see you next time. Okay,